Elphaba is actually the true. Hey guys, it's Anani. So today's video is going to be another vlog style type of video. It is because I am so excited. I'm going to take you guys along with me when I go see Wicked. I was a musical theater geek in middle school. I was in theater arts class, everything, did lip sync shows, the whole nine. And that was actually the first time that I actually saw Wicked in my theater arts class. And when I saw it, I was obsessed. I saw the version with Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. That is the one that kind of sticks in my mind as a reference. So I'm very curious to see how Ariana and Cynthia take on their roles, if they do anything different, if they change it up, if they keep things the same. But I heard nothing but great things about Wicked, so I am very excited to see it. And without further ado, let's start off with my makeup, and then thereafter we will go see Wicked.
Don't you ever find someone that cares for you deeply like I do. Oh girl, hi. Don't know when I'll find someone that'll ever get me going like you do. I don't know, why would you suddenly leave and act like I never existed? Oh girl, how could you go do this to me, knowing that I'm nothing without you? It's just one thing that I always wonder, why you said we'll always be together. If you knew your words held no way, I'll do anything to get you back, 'cause you're my only love. I might rob a bank with no mask, see my face, do anything to get you back, 'cause you're my only love. I might rob a bank with no mask, see my face, do anything to get you back, 'cause you're my only love. Girl, I need you next to me, holding you all night with open arms. There's no girl around, as far as the eye can see, that's special to me deep inside my heart. There's no girl around that could ever take your place, so hold me close until the end of time. I might need help.
Guys, I will be doing my full analysis in the morning. Right now I just have to marinate on the sheer greatness that I just saw. I am like I don't even know what to say, guys. Wicked, absolutely amazing. I haven't seen a movie that great in a very long time. But raw reaction, guys, go see it. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So do go see it, guys. It was great. Okay guys, it is officially the next day and it is now time for me to do my movie review on Wicked. Just so you guys know, there will definitely be spoilers in this. This will not be spoiler free. We will be going in depth. But without further ado, let's get into my review of the movie Wicked. So first and foremost, I want to say across the board, I felt the acting was excellent. Cynthia Erivo, that woman can act. It is something different, I feel, about the way that Cynthia Erivo portrays a character. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's like she's not just acting. It's like she's able to pull a emotional response from the viewer. like something guttural, like out of The Watcher. Like it is something that I think is very, very, very special. So just for starters, Cynthia Erivo, absolutely fantastic in the role of Elphaba. Ariana Grande, after watching Wicked, I think brought to the screen what the director was looking to evoke. It has been a very long time since I have seen the original Wicked.
Hey, editing me here. I'm just not realizing that in theater arts class, I only saw part 1 of Wicked. I didn't realize that there were actually 2 parts. What I will say is, in looking at wikipedia.com, a lot of these hot takes were accurate, but I digress.
So in my recollection of it, I do know that Glinda's character is supposed to be, kind of what Ariana portrayed it as, but I feel from what I remember that Ariana Grande and the way the director kind of intended for this portrayal of Glinda, I think it made it a super stark contrast to me that Glinda's character was a certain thing. And like I said, we're gonna go into that more as the video progresses, but I think that Ariana Grande was definitely able to portray, I think, exactly what the director was intending to do. Like everybody knows, Wicked is of course the backstory of, the Wizard of Oz, how the Wicked Witch became the Wicked Witch, right? There's always of course tones in there of prejudice and things like that. However, I feel with the casting of Cynthia Erivo, with the casting of a Black woman as Elphaba on the big screen, I think it put a whole new feel to what Wicked is. I feel like it gave it so much more depth. It hit harder. You know what I'm saying? I feel like after seeing it, it almost felt like it was always intended to be almost kind of like that portrayal of, how a Black woman is kind of disadvantaged in society, even though of course we know that it was written for a certain reason. But there's so many layers. There's so many layers, and like I said, we're gonna decipher as many of them as I can remember. I have heard kind of a hot take, not a hot take, but I've heard takes online of basically that this is like a movie about friendship. It's a movie about friendship, and we're gonna go into it in depth. If the only theme that you got out of this movie was that it's a great movie about friendship, you have completely missed the boat. You have completely missed the boat. If the only thing you got out of this was friendship, you are in fact a Glinda, and that is not a compliment. Okay, so the movie starts out great opening scene. I love the number. This was actually the first scene that I actually cried in as well. Spoiler alert, there will be more scenes that I cry in. Again, I think it was genius the way the director kind of opened up the movie. You see Glinda, coming down in the ball, right? Or in her sphere. And then of course you see everybody very excited, right? Because the witch is dead and it's great, right? And you see all of these kinds of posters and things depicting her as this evil, wicked character, right? And then Glinda is talking, and the first thing that I notice is again she participates in this celebration of her friend. So she is actively kind of participating in this gleeful celebration of her friend's death, right? And the song is, nobody mourns the wicked, and the wicked isn't mourned, and all this kind of a thing, right? And so there's this one scene in particular, and this is the scene that definitely, kind of elicited a certain emotional response, right? The people, they bring out this huge, statue, I guess you could say, made out of wood, right? It's clear that they're about to light this thing kind of on fire, right? And it turns out that Glinda, Glinda's character is actually the one who sets her ablaze, right? And so when I'm seeing, this where, Glinda is being very cheerful, very jolly, right? And she's setting her friend ablaze, you know, it almost too in this moment, like there's no remorse. It's just she is, you know, going along, you know, with this. Glenda's about to go, and there's a character that comes that says, hey, weren't you guys friends? You know, is it true that you were friends? And she's stuttering, she won't give a straight answer. She's like, oh yeah, we were, but you know, not really. And again, you could see also too, because on the screen, you know, they're playing kind of flashbacks, right, of like these pivotal moments that, you know, were about their friendship. And again, you can see like this internal thing is playing, right, but you still don't see remorse. It is very cold, right? It is very cold. And like I say, I think that was a genius way to open the number, because I think like I say, it set the tone for the type of person that I think Glenda is. When they were doing the Who Mourns the Wicked number, you got a bit of a flashback about Elphaba's character, which is played by Cynthia Erivo, right? And you see that her mother, it's heavily implied that she is not really her father's child, right? She is the child of a product of an affair, right? And during this affair, her mother drank some kind of a green something, and I think they're implying that, well, I don't know if it's implying, but that this is the reason that Elphaba is green. So then, you know, as the movie progresses, you know, it flashes back. They're at Shiz university, right? You know, Ariana Grande's character is, you know, coming to Shiz, and you know, she's pink everything, obviously, you know, in true Glenda fashion. But yeah, she's coming there, and it is right off the bat also too. The stage is quite set where Glenda is extremely narcissistic. She views kind of the world as like it's her world and you are just a squirrel in the world, kind of a vibe, right? So she's extremely narcissistic. In the real world, like not just in this play, but you know, in the real world, we know that narcissism, right? Narcissism is birthed out of trauma, right? Narcissism is birthed actually from having extreme low self-esteem. Throughout the film, you know, it is quite seen that, and again, we're going to talk about it, that Glenda is quite obsessed with being the center of attention, with being popular, right? I feel, I don't know if people quite talk about this, but this was very much thrown in my face when watching the movie. Glenda actually has extremely low self-esteem, right? That is the reason she is that narcissistic, that she is always needing to be the center of attention, that she is always needing to be, quote, popular. You know, as, you know, she gets to the school, you know, she's talking about how she always wants to practice sorcery, you know, like that's what she's there for. She's very excited. And eventually, you know, you see Cynthia Erivo's character come with her sister. And so she's dropping her sister off at college. This is where you get that scene where it's like, oh, what? You're green, sort of a thing. I thought that scene was actually very interesting and very telling, and I'm going to tell you why. The choice of language that they used in the script was excellent. Yes, Wicked kind of has always had something to do with prejudice and things like that. However, like I said, I think with the portrayal of Cynthia Erivo in the role, it hits harder. The punch is packed more, right? Ariana's character, right? You know, she goes into this spiel when she sees her like, oh my goodness, like I'm so sorry, you know, that you were cursed with that skin tone. I'm practicing sorcery. I'm going to practice sorcery. I'm going to master it. And then I'm going to rectify that skin tone right on for you. And, you know, the people are like, oh, she's so great. You know, Glenda is wonderful, A, B, C, and D. But I think this dialogue is very important, right? Because it talks about like how, you know, she needs to cure, you know, Cynthia's character's skin, right? Or if you're going to put that in kind of the context, you know, of the real world, you know, like, oh, you need a cure for your blackness, right? You need to be kind of whitewashed, you know, like that's not really acceptable, you know? And I think that was very interesting. I think the text was also too layered with the concept of a white savior complex, because the fact that Ariana's character even felt that she had to save Cynthia's character, right, from something that Cynthia's character especially at that time had never said that she didn't like. Who are you to say that I'm saving you from something that you've never even said you had issue with, right? She was saying, yes, I'm green, and don't worry, you know, my sister's a perfectly acceptable color. Again, right there, like I said before, like these concepts of even colorism, you know, or even like, you know, white is acceptable or anything light is acceptable, but you know, the black or the green is not, right? That was excellently portrayed in that point. Now, as the story progresses, you know, Elphaba's character, her father is basically saying, you know, you need to make sure your sister gets into her room, because I won't have anything bad happen to her, and she's the most important thing in the world to me. You make sure. And he's like very insistent, right? So she ends up listening to her father's orders and goes to follow her sister to make sure she is okay, right? During this time, I guess, I don't know if it's like a teacher aide, or the woman, you know, sees the sister character, and she's like, oh, don't worry, I heard your father told me I'm gonna, you know, like make sure you get to where you need to go. But the way in which she was doing it, it was almost like the implication that because you have a disability, like you can't do anything. So she kind of just like starts taking her sister, you know, and the sister is like, wait, you know, wait, I can do this myself, you know, like trust me, like I'm independent and things like that. The teacher aide is not listening. Cynthia's character kind of starts trying to tell the teacher aide, wait, stop, you know, like, wait a minute, she can do this, she can do this. Teacher aide is not listening, right? Cynthia is overwhelmed with emotion and says, stop, right? And it's at that point you can kind of see her power is very much activated when she is angry, right? Her anger is kind of the thing that fuels her power. When she does this, the entire like area that they are gets destroyed. Her sister gets very, you know, upset because she wanted kind of a new beginning, you know, kind of away from, you know, her sister and her family. She wanted something fresh, right? The dean of the school, and of course this name is evading me, of course, but I will put it on the screen. She sees Elphaba's power. She sees what she has just done. She comes down and she basically tells, you know, the school, oh, that was me, you know, I'm trying to teach you guys to stay on your toes, you know, sort of a thing. She basically covers for Elphaba so that people don't think it is Elphaba with that power. And basically from that, she offers Elphaba a place at Shiz, and she gets to train directly under that dean to learn how to harness her power. You also too see Ariana Grande's character really trying to impress this dean. The dean could literally care less. She does not want anything to do with Ariana's character. When she sees Dean talking to Elphaba, she comes up to them and she starts to try to talk, and she accidentally volunteers herself to be Elphaba's roommate. Now this next part, I think it was very cute. I think it was, again, great. Everybody was great, I feel, musically. So Cynthia kind of goes on her song where, you know, she's talking about how, you know, she can't wait to see the wizard and things like that. There's also a little bit revealed that she actually does kind of want to change her color. She actually does not really want to be green, and that's one of the things that she's going to ask the wizard, you know, once she harnesses her power and she's able to meet him, if she can take away her greenness. Then you kind of flash forward and you get the loathing, unadulterated loathing song, which I think was really cute. I love the way that they executed it, the dancing. I think they did wonderful. I love the kind of back and forth, the banter. I think it was just excellent. Then you kind of get into, you know, seeing them in kind of some of their studies, right? You see that there is a goat professor. And this professor is basically kind of trying to teach them, you know, the history. The goat's kind of like, you know, people will have you forget the history, but history is very important, right? So again, wow. You know, another concept. This is a common theme, especially, like I say, in the Black community. It is very well known that we are aware that other races would want us to forget the atrocities that we faced. When you don't know the extent of the atrocities, you are not mad enough to create proper change. Well, I think that was even a very great theme that they threw in there. Yes, Elphaba's character represents Black women, but almost the animal species in itself represents Black people. And I thought that was very interesting how they did that. Whilst the GOAT professor was teaching a lecture, he flips the board, right? And it basically has like writing, like a derogatory writing. It's basically saying like animals should be seen and not heard, right? Like we need to take these animals' voices away. So she is very frustrated about this. So, you know, you flash forward and then you see kind of like this prince, right? Elphaba was kind of walking, you know, trying to find the goat professor, and she stumbles upon, you know, kind of a meeting that him and the other animals were having, kind of about the treatment and what's kind of happening with the animals, right? That they're trying to silence them, they're trying to cage them, again kind of hints to enslavement and stuff like that. She walks out into the woods, runs into this prince, right? She doesn't know he's a prince at the time. He finds it out later on, you know, when he gets to the school and everybody's like, oh, you know, swooning over this guy. Of course Glinda's character is like, yes, he's mine, I'm gonna get him. Flash forwarding, during that kind of number where Glinda and this guy are getting together, there's a guy at the school that is very taken with Glinda, right? But Glinda's sister, Elphaba's sister actually quite likes this boy. Glinda wants to go to this dance that's coming up with the prince, obviously. She likes the prince. She's like, oh, it's me and him, right? The guy wants to ask Glinda. Glinda can tell this, and she's like, actually, you know, you need to go ask that girl. Like, you need to go ask the girl being Elphaba's sister, right? That's in a wheelchair. And the guy ends up going to ask the girl to please Glinda, right? Now, I do want to point this out as well, because again, this scene could be very easily misinterpreted. On the surface, right, it looks like Glinda is doing this, you know, because she can really see, you know, how much the guy, you know, the girl likes the guy and stuff like that, and so she's pushing that kind of to be together. But that is actually not the case. Glinda's character is only pushing this guy towards this girl strictly because she just wants to go to the dance with the prince. Like, also too, she's keeping up this facade of, you know, Glinda's good and, you know, she's great and da-da-da, so she can't just strictly say like, oh, don't ask me, you know, I'm going with him and things like that, right? It was not out of the kindness of her heart, you know, when I'm saying that she set that up. Not at all. It was, again, for a self-serving reason to serve Glinda. Flash forward a little bit, you know, the girl is very excited. And, you know, she's very excited. She tells Elphaba, you know, Glinda set me up with this guy. My dreams are gonna come true. We're gonna fall in love, you know, like the whole thing, right? But she sees the happiness on her sister's face and she's like, you know what? Yeah, like that was great of Glinda. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was so excellent, right? Glinda, she is getting ready for the dance in her room with her two followers, sort of a thing. And I think everybody played their roles so well. The one-liners and stuff like that from her followers and, you know, like the kind of comedic wit, I thought it was fantastic. But anyway, they're getting ready and, you know, everything in Glinda's closet is pink, right? So they open the closet and they see like this black hat, right? And they're like, oh my God, this is so ugly. And she's like, yeah, my grandma made it. I can't find anybody that I hate more enough to give it to. Elphaba walks in and she gives the hat to Elphaba. Elphaba wants to say, you know, thank you kind of for setting my sister up, right? But she never gets a chance to say that because Glinda's like, you know what, wear this hat, you know, come to the dance, you know what I'm saying? And we're all gonna go together, it's gonna be a great time. But clearly Glinda it's not a good motive, right? She's trying to embarrass Elphaba. When Elphaba hears this, she's like, oh wow, like I actually I'm gonna go to a dance, right? Like I'm gonna have some friends, right? So she goes to the dean and basically tells the dean to allow Glinda to be a part of their training. If she doesn't, she will drop out immediately, right? She comes to the dance, Glinda is there. The dean tells her that what Elphaba did. Immediately you see kind of the first, and a lot of times the only glimpse of a semblance of, oh, that was bad what I did with Glinda, right? As she's getting this information, you see Elphaba coming, right? Of course, she has the hat on and her outfit. And immediately kids or the school is laughing at her, laughing stock, right? She sees Glinda and she kind of realizes what Glinda has done, right? She walks in the center, she takes off her hat, and you know, she kind of starts doing like this dance. It's almost like this dance of heartbreak, you know, it's almost this dance of like, I can't even describe it, but what I will say, myself, my mother, and my sister were all in the theater, and collectively we all cried. And I do think that I read that that was improv by Cynthia Erivo, and you get it. Like I don't even know how to explain it, because the dance, it looks kind of like silly and it's like, huh, but you get it. You get it. She's in the center, people are laughing at her. She knows what happened. She put her hat down and then she just starts to dance. And it's the emotion is like, I can't even explain it, right? So Glenda's looking at her, right? She's looking at everybody kind of watching her. And Glenda basically says, no, you know, like I need to kind of step in, you know, she did this, you know, for me, so let me kind of be the one to kind of take this bad heat off of her. She does the dance kind of with Elphaba, and then after that everybody starts doing the dance like it's cool. Now again, pause. Genius. Yes, we get the first moments of a truce, right, between Elphaba and Glenda, right? I think if you really also to watch, I think the director was very genius. It was also to this undertone of, again, Cynthia's doing something, right? Cynthia's character who represents the black woman, right? As soon as Glenda, right? As soon as Glenda, who is perfectly socially acceptable, right? As soon as Glenda, who is white, right? As soon as the white woman, right, emulates what the black woman is doing, right? The exact same moves, right? Then everybody jumps in. Then it's not seen as funny and weird, right? Then it's seen as acceptable. So even those undertones, I really think it was absolutely genius. When the black woman did it, she gets laughed at. When the white woman did it, it was acceptable. It was appropriate. It was cool. It was fashion, right? So I even think that those undertones are very, very, very interesting. Now, after this, you know, we get the iconic popular, I know about popular. Let me just tell you, Ariana did fantastic. I loved her in this number. I thought it was wonderful, 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 wonderful. What I will say is, again, here, key point, right? In real love, right? In real friendship, right? An honest connection, right? I'm not saying accept the bad, but you accept a person for who they are, right? You accept them for being them, right? But if you listen to the song, look like me and you need to dress like me and I'll make you popular, you know? If you really listen to it, even at this time, right? Even when there was a truce on the table between them, right? Glenda still did not accept Elphaba for who Elphaba was, right? She wanted to change Elphaba to be like her, right? Again, in true connection, in true love, right? In true friendship, you are not trying to make the person a carbon copy of you. You are trying to let them see the greatness within themselves, right? So I thought that was very interesting because, like I say, it's very subtle, but if you notice, like I say, it is not the full acceptance of Elphaba. It is still, okay, now we're cool. Let me show you how to be like me. You know what I'm saying? That's missing the point. And I think that is exactly what the director was trying to depict, right? Because even a little bit later on, you know, you see the prince who, again, it is implied during this entire movie that the prince really actually likes Elphaba. But basically he is telling her, like, she's making you a carbon copy. You don't need to be Glenda, you're Elphaba, sort of a thing. And again, that's the point, because it goes a little bit again into Glenda's narcissism, right? It goes into the fact that she has, it's a bit of a disconnect, right? It's quite a bit of a disconnect, and she is more self-centered, you know, than I think sometimes people understand when watching the movie, right? Then in the end of that, you know, musical number, you hear Glenda say something like, yeah, you'll be popular, but you'll never be as popular as me. And again, that also too is another thing about, again, the kind of undertones of low self-esteem, right? You can never get above me. You will only get as far as I'm going to allow you to get, because I am number one, right? And like I say, that can be a very problematic way of thinking. So I even thought that was very interesting. Now, as the story progresses, we get into another professor session, right? It is known that the professor and Elphaba love poppies. They absolutely love poppies. So because the goat professor was down, Elphaba picks him some poppies. He's like, not now, Elphaba, like, just take your seat. I gotta tell you guys something really quick. And he basically says goats are not, or animals are not permitted to teach here anymore. And all of a sudden, like, you know, the kind of officials like bust in and they basically like kind of like arrest him. Elphaba is horrified. The officials come in with like this lion in a cage, right? And basically he says, yeah, look, this is this great thing, caged animals, you know, and yeah, it's gonna be great because they won't be able to talk. And immediately Elphaba is getting like very kind of like frustrated, right, with kind of like the injustice that she's seeing. She ends up hitting the poppies on the table. The poppies start floating and everybody kind of falls out, you know, like they kind of fall out from the poppy gas, except the prince character. After the dean walks in and sees that everybody's like the poppies are suspended in time, so she writes the wizard writes back. Elphaba gets invited to the Emerald City. So Elphaba is you know, about to board the train. She's wondering where the prince is, and he finally comes to say goodbye, and he's basically alluding, like, I always think about that night like in the woods, but they are under the same impression like we can't be together, but like we kind of like really like each other, you know, sort of a thing. And Glenda's character is kind of like looking like, what in the world? And she's like, yeah, you know, like I think about it too. Like, as a matter of fact, you know, let me stand in solidarity, you know, like let me stand in solidarity with the goats and for what's happening. And from now on, I'm gonna change my name, right? So basically, the goat professor would always kind of mispronounce Glenda's name, right? So her name is actually Galinda, not Glinda, Galinda. But at this point in time, to fit in with the prince and Elphaba, she makes this declaration of, I'm changing my name from Galinda to how the goat pronounced it, Glinda. But again, I think even this part was very interesting. It also too shows kind of the concept of performative activism, right? Do you really feel it? You know, is there an ulterior motive, you know? And that could be in a lot of things, you know. In this instance, Glinda's performative activism was to fit in with the prince and Elphaba's conversation, build more of a bond with the prince, right? But in general, like, what is the motivations behind your activism? Is it because it was popular? Or is it because it is popular? If it wasn't popular, would you do it? You know, is it because you don't want to get canceled? So I think even that was very interesting, the undertone of the nature sometimes of why people are making certain stances and stuff like that, right? So Glinda and Elphaba board the train and they finally meet the wizard, right? So the wizard's kind of like, you know, showing them the back and showing kind of like this mock-up he has of Oz, and he's like, I was wondering what color to make the road, like I don't know, it should be green or da-da-da or da-da, and Glinda's like, actually go back, because like the yellow is really working, like it just screams road. And I was like, great, like I literally loved it. Like I really love the comedy aspect of this, like too, like it was really great to me. Oz shows Elphaba like a little miniature version of herself, right? And it's green, like the little green thing in her black or whatever. And Elphaba's like, oh, she's green, you know, and Oz was like, she doesn't have to be, is that your wish or whatever? And Elphaba's like, no, actually, like I'm gonna keep her green, right? And so it was at this moment you could see that Elphaba finally accepted kind of herself, right? And again, that the themes of that are, you know, the black woman accepting, you know, like the power of your skin, right? The who you are, and you don't have to change it. You know what I'm saying? So Elphaba's character actually ends up telling the wizard that he actually, or her wish actually is going to be to help the animals, because she was telling him kind of about what was happening, going on. They were getting rounded up and all that kind of a thing. Like I said, she has a very, very close connection with animals. After this, her dean walks in and she's so happy to see her. So they start talking about how there's a grimoire. I'm calling it a grimoire. I forgot the name in universe of what this thing is called. Totally forgot about it. So I'm gonna call it a grimoire. Basically it's like a book of like spells, right? As soon as Elphaba's character gets up to this grimoire, it opens and starts flapping, and immediately she can understand the text of this thing. So the wizard is basically saying, because there's a monkey that's kind of like a monkey on the guard, and he's like, oh, you know, Elphaba, like this monkey, he would always tell me how much he wanted to fly like a bird, like that's all he wanted to do, da da da. Elphaba sees a spell to give wings, like to give wings to this monkey. So she starts chanting it. She can immediately decipher it. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, she can see it. She's quite powerful. So she's chanting it, chanting it, chanting it. The monkey starts to get wings. So she could see that this is actually physically hurting these monkeys. Like, because it's not just him. She actually sees also too, like the legion of monkeys, eventually it has been fully changed, right? And she's like, oh my gosh, like what? And they slip up and say, oh, this is gonna be great. Like, we're finally gonna have spies on all the floors. And she's like, spies? Like, excuse me? Like, what? Like, whoa, what are you doing? At this moment, it clicks to her that, oh, it's the wizard that is doing this stuff, trying to keep the animals from talking and things like that, right? Now, let's briefly go back, because there is a key point. My sister, she ate that up so bad when she called this out in the car ride on the way home. I don't even know if this was in the original Wicked, because it's been a long time since I've seen it, so I don't know if this was in the original Wicked and I just forgot, but I completely glossed it when I was watching the movie. Before she even like starts getting into the grimoire and doing the spell or whatever, the wizard, y'all follow me, because this is tea. The wizard basically tells Elphaba a prophecy, right? A prophecy about the chosen person, right? That can kind of read this grimoire and that's gonna do all this stuff, da da da, for Oz and da da da. My sister said in the car, and I totally missed this, the prophecy, the true heir to Oz and everything, hence why the Emerald City is emerald, was because Elphaba is actually the true Oz. Elphaba was supposed to be Oz. She was the one that was prophesied. That's why the Emerald City is green. That's why she's green. That's why she's the only one that can read the grimoire. That's why she has all of this power, A, B, C, and D. It's because she was the prophesied ruler of Oz, and that stole her birthright. Guys, when I tell you, and you've got these people chastising, making fun of, belittling, berating, putting down, hating the one that was the true Queen of Oz. Ain't that poetic? Is that not poetic? I cannot remember if that was a thing in the play, because back then when I watched it, I don't remember like having that kind of a eureka moment. But if that director put that in this movie, he ate that so bad. And then, you know, after she figures out about, you know, what he's really doing, and the Oz is like, you know, you can just come with, you can be with me, and you can stay here, and we can do da da da. I'm Oz. Like, you can be it too. No, I am it. you can go. Elphaba is Oz the Great and Powerful. And that's why the entire thing reflects Elphaba. It's so interesting too, because even when she was little, she was always obsessed with Oz and how it was green just like her and all that kind of thing. It's because, darling, it's for you. You're the chosen one. Black women, I highly recommend you go and do some research. We are actually powerful. And I mean very powerful. And like I say, the people in power and everything, it is the illusion of power. We have the true power. I'm gonna leave it there. Black women, because I'm not trying to spill the beans, go and do your research. Okay? Because, honey. So anyway, you know, Elphaba at this point in time, she's like, man, heck no, I am out of here. Like, I am so gone. Like, so she starts basically running away, steals the grimoire, and is like, I'm out. Like, y'all are full of it. Like, I'm not doing this with y'all. The dean, who has hated Ariana's character forever, she basically says, girl, if you want to make yourself useful, go and get her. And Ariana's like, yes, ma'am. You know, like, I'm like, girl. Glenda's like, what are you doing? Like, you're about to ruin everything. And Elphaba's character is like, you're doing all this and for what? Like, just so you can get some notoriety, or just so you can be on the in crowd, or something in that vein. This is the lead up to the iconic Defying Gravity. They come to terms, you know, with the fact that they are gonna go their separate ways, right? Elphaba is starting to chant and you know, sort of a thing, and she basically is trying to fly, right, or whatever. Glenda makes the statement, because I guess it's not happening as fast as she perceives it should be happening, right? And she says, maybe you're not as powerful as you think you are. I'm sorry? Did you not witness what I just did literally 30 seconds ago? Do you not see Oz and our dean on me like white on rice? Have you yourself performed any great magical miracles? And you have the audacity to say, maybe you're not as powerful as you think you are? Almost trying to humble, you know, trying to humble Elphaba's character, right? And to humble her, you know, and because what is the motive? Trying to humble her, make her second guess herself, so she'll do what she wants, right? Of turn herself in and you know, not leave and stuff like that, right? You've seen my power. And your choice is, well, I'm gonna humble you, right? Even after a few minutes ago, you just said I can do anything, right? It ends up, the broom levitates, and Elphaba realizes, yes, the spell worked, and now her broom can fly. And this is where she gets her broom, right? So like I said, they start doing their farewells at this moment. Elphaba jumps out the window in this iconic like action shot, tens. She starts falling. She's trying to get her bearings. She looks in the reflection, sees her younger self, and she kind of like gets her power, gets her gusto, and as she's reaching out to her younger self, her broom grasps her hand, she gets on there, and she starts, it's me, you know, like, it's me that you want. So incredibly amazing. When I tell you, tears flowing from my face. I gotta fly solo, you know? Like even that's even a line in the song, like, if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. You fully get it. Like I mean, like I say, Cynthia is able to, I was gonna say emotionally, but no, it is spiritually, reach through the screen with her performance and connect you immediately to a certain kind of a spiritual reaction, right? Beautiful. Beautiful. That scene when you can see, like, she's stepping into her own self. She's like, no, you'll, it's even like this line, like, nobody is ever gonna bring me down. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm gonna step into it. I'm gonna start being as powerful as I know I can be, and I'm gonna defy gravity. You see Ariana Grande's character Glenda submit completely to the agenda that she has always been loyal to, which is popularity. And I think this part is also very interesting too, right? Because throughout the whole movie, she wanted to be a sorcerer. Like, that's what she wanted. Now, instead of being taught by literally prophesied the most powerful sorcerer, and whomst you've seen is actually in the right here, right? And she's saying, no, I'd rather betray you. It is so deep. It is so layered. And like I say, if to walk out of this saying that this was a movie, you know, strictly about friendship, right? You have completely missed the entire boat. To walk out of this movie thinking that what Glenda did was friendship, you're a Glenda, you know, and that's not a compliment, right? Because Glenda only looked after Glenda always. Like I said, even when you look at the popular song, even when you look at anything she was doing, it was always self-serving to Glenda. The friendship, right, between Elphaba and Glenda was not really a friendship, right? And like I said, I think the director did this intentionally, and I think he did it in a way where it is this layered, right? I think he did it in a way where if you can see beyond the surface of the script, you can see all of these layers in different themes. But if you choose to look at it on the surface and not acknowledge the Elphaba-sized elephant in the room about the correlation between Black women and how they're treated and viewed in society, and the undertones of racism and all of these things, right? If you choose not to willfully ignore that, I think that's very telling too. And that's why I give the title of I Think You're a Glenda. You know what I'm saying?